all know IKEA for their modern Swedish decor. But today my goal is to find a few items that I can take and make into something fit for a hobbit living in the Shire.
And that is for a very special reason. I mean, not that I need a special reason in particular to make something hobbity. It could be a random Tuesday afternoon and some stranger on the street can be like, hey, make something hobbity, and I'd be like, oh, right away. And that special reason is because I have been invited to an event called the Brandywine Festival, which is a Hobbit-themed live-action roleplay festival. It is going to be this massive event that takes place this October in Kentucky on this absolutely gorgeous farmland where there's going to be games, music, dancing, and of course, second breakfast. So essentially, this is a Hobbit LARP where you spend 5 days just fully living out your life as if you were a Hobbit. I cannot think of a more perfect event. And this is a very special event because not only is it being put on by Berkshire, which is also the people who put on like the biggest LARPs in the world, but it is also being put on in partnership with Middle-earth Adventures, like official Lord of the Rings Middle-earth. Like, we are going to be name brand hobbits. And they're partnering with like a ton of amazing creators to help with like the lore, the costumes, the props, most of which like I am super big fans of, so I'm freaking out about that too. This is a crowdfunded event, so the only way to get tickets is through their Kickstarter campaign that's going on right now, which they already met their like minimum goal, so it's like a surefire thing that this is happening. And they have also been super nice and offered me the chance to give away a free ticket to one of you. But more about that later. For now, I gotta get started on my Hobbit craft. So in this event, all player characters are going to be hobbits. You can't go and be like, oh, I'm actually a dwarf, or I'm actually an elf. No, everyone is a hobbit. Does not matter if you are 7 feet tall, Hobbit. Though because this is going to be a festival that takes place like a few months after Frodo and his friends leave the Shire, you do get to choose whether you are going to be one of the hobbits hosting the festival, or if you're going to be a hobbit who is traveling there. So for my character, I decided that I really want to lean into like the traveling hobbit aesthetic. For the project I'm going to do today, I thought it would be cute to kind of make a traveler's bag. But to make this feel like a little bit more hobbity, a little bit more homemade, I thought it'd be fun to make a bag kind of inspired by these basket bags or forager bags that I have been seeing on my Pinterest for a while. I think it looks super cute and would be super on theme for this event. Plus, starting with a basket would probably be easier than starting from scratch. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a basket that will work before at another magical far-off land of IKEA. And yeah, this might just be an excuse to make the trip to go get some Swedish meatballs as well. All right, let's go.
So I made my journey to IKEA, and even though I was on a quest, I did have to stop for meatballs first, which I think that they gave me extra because apparently no one's in IKEA on a random Thursday afternoon. Or, you know, maybe it's just the Swedish hospitality. Anywho's, I made my way through IKEA, determined not to get distracted from my quest for baskets. Yep, truly nothing could stop. I did eventually find where all the baskets were and started to look at what options I had. While they did have a lot of options, I couldn't find the one that I was exactly remembering. So I decided to go with this one, which was a similar shape and size that I wanted. And for only $15, if this is what the Swedes wanted me to have, I can make it work.
All right, so we have all of our very essential items from IKEA. Go Resply. I mean, did I go there with the intention of only buying one thing? Yes, but like we all know that doesn't happen when you go to IKEA. And plus, I think a lot of this stuff can actually be used for the project. Fake leaves make everything more cottagecore. I actually got some fabrics from like the as-is section. Like so much fabric for only $15. I feel like I can actually use this as like a cover for the bag. I also got some blankets that I think could be good for either bedrolls or maybe a nice picnic blanket to add. And then of course, hobbits always gotta be ready to make a meal, so. Then of course the main thing, which is the basket, which, hold on a second. It's actually convertible. So just gotta unfold it like that. And now it's actually more like what we're going to be using. Hold up, let me just shift everything over. Oh wait, what's the name of the basket? Fladis. This is Fladis the basket. Now, admittedly, this is not the original basket I was picturing, but that's okay because I still feel like this one can work. We're just going to have to readjust my plan because this one definitely is like the right size and shape that I wanted. The only problem is that it is very flimsy, which in my original idea, based on the others that I have seen online, is more of a sturdy basket, has like belts around it into almost like a harness that you put the straps on, but I don't think that'll work because it's too loose. So what I think my plan is going to be is to reshape it and then add something to kind of reinforce the shape that I have.
First thing I gotta do is figure out if I can get rid of this crease in the middle, because not only does it look weird, but also I don't want this basket to fold, so I want to get rid of it. I mean, from what I can tell, the weaving isn't really that different in the sections. It looks like it was just creased, like, after it was made. So theoretically, I think that means I can reshape it out. So when it comes to my experience of reshaping things, there's two things that do it. There's either heat or it's water. And normally heat is for like foam and plastic, you know, more man-made stuff. For this, it's more than likely going to be water. I'm sure a quick Google search can tell me the answer. Right there. I'm going to assume that's yes. First, I need to find a tub that can actually fit this. Okay, I found this tub that was like the inside of a cooler that I think could work. Oh, it's getting heavy. Oh shoot, it's getting heavy. Oh no, we're going down. Mambo, do not drink the water. And let's see how much we can fit it in there.
A few moments later.
Okay, so it's been soaking for a minute. Let's see if it has done anything. Oh, it enhances the wicker smell. I mean, it looks like it's already taking on the form of the container, which is nice. Unfold this. Oh, that's working really well, I think. It's like still kind of there, but nowhere near what it used to be. I imagine just as long as it dries flat, it should be good. You know, this container's kind of the shape that I want. Like the flat side so it can go against my back, and then like the curved outside. So let me just go and empty this out, and maybe I just leave this to dry overnight in this container. I think that should work out really well. It's still heavy. If I sound pathetic, it's because I am. Let me just... And then to weigh down the bottom, what I found is two jars of peanut butter. I feel like using food is a very Hobbit-y solution. There we go. Yep. That looks about right. That worked so well. Like, look, it actually looks backpack shape. Look at that. Wow. While it is holding and like returning to its shape pretty well, it needs to have a little bit more structure. I think adding some supports on the bottom and then also reinforce the back of it so I can add straps later on without worry of it like tearing or deforming. And then after that, we should have a pretty good base for the rest of our bag. And then we can get into the more like fun decorative stuff.
So while this bag is technically a costume or a prop piece, I really do want to focus on making something that will be functional and will last, because like I am taking this to go camping. I mean, camping as a hobbit, but you know. And especially since this is a very chill LARP, like it sounds like there's going to be a lot of adventuring quests and more like wandering around. So having something to hold all my stuff will be very useful. That is something I am very excited about for the Brandywine Festival that is so different than the other LARPs I've experienced so far, because at those, their main focus seems to be more on politics and fighting and all this stuff. Which, you know, definitely is fun. Like, I've had a good time with a pike on the battlefield. But at Brandywine, there is going to be no combat, because we are hobbits and we do not fight. Like, they're putting so much more focus on the atmosphere, which means that they're going to be hosting a bunch of games and events and have workshops and crafting, and it's just going to be way more chill than learning all the politics of kingdoms and factions and stuff like that, which also makes it a lot more beginner friendly. And on top of that, they still do have like a plot and like quests that you can go on for rewards, where you can go and like find treasure or sneak around a camp of the big folk around. I don't know, it just sounds like it's going to be so different than like any other LARP, and I'm so freaking excited. But oh yeah, I should probably talk about what's happening in the building montage. So for the supports, I thought the best way to do it was just to take some spare pieces of craft wood that I had, took measurements for my shapes, and sent it off to the laser cutter. And while just using an absurd amount of wood glue worked for attaching all the wood pieces together, unfortunately, it did not work for actually attaching the supports. Which, you know, I probably should have suspected. So my plan B was to instead drill some holes into the wood and just hand sew everything in. which did work. I was at first cautious that it might break some of the woven pieces. Looking back on it now, I think the smarter thing to do would have been to maybe use some like screws and bolts, but I just didn't want to run out to the hardware store and was like, oh, I'll use what I have, which ended up being a lot more time consuming. I will admit, I had completely no idea what kind of stitches I was doing. I was simply just looping around back and forth until it felt secure enough that on top of it being an awkward angle, it was just kind of annoying. Then I decided that I probably should add these little paper wire things that I found to help secure the brim, which unfortunately was even more sewing.
I, for the life of me, cannot find my wireless mic anywhere, so I do apologize for the audio, but rest assured, I will definitely find it the second I'm done filming. But yesterday, I finished adding all of the supports to the basket. Took a little bit longer than I thought, but now it is a lot more sturdy and not falling apart. So overall, I think it's pretty good. Like, watch, I can just... Got my little water container, boom, in the bag. Spoon, in the bag. So while I am happy with the development, it is still technically just a basket. So I think the next step is to add some straps, to actually make it a bag. And to make the straps, I'm going to use yet another random curtain I got from the thrift store.
Consider maybe going with leather straps, but the reason why I kind of shied away from it was because if I made leather straps, that means I would be dyeing it, and you do run the risk of, like, if they are not sealed super properly, and especially if it is something that is pulling into your shoulder, the dye will more than likely bleed into your clothes. So that is why I'm going with fabric for this one. Which, lucky for me, the sewing on this is basically as easy as it can be. A straight stitch down a straight seam. So easy that even I can do it. Something new I am trying for this project, though, is making it an adjustable strap. Partly for convenience, and then partly because I am too afraid of making it too big or too small, so this way I can't be wrong. I am following a tutorial, and mostly you just need the right hardware and then to loop the straps the correct way. And when I tested it out, it was actually working properly. I just needed to close it off with some rivets. With both of my straps now adjustable, I once again had to attach it with hand sewing. And this one was tough because it was some thick fabric. But with the help of some pliers, this basket is now officially a bag.
I know technically that this is still just like a basket with straps, but it feels really cute. It genuinely actually feels like pretty sturdy. I don't feel like it's about to like fall apart at any minute. I'm not entirely sure what the weight limit is. I mean, wait, if we really wanted to test that, hold on. Oh, Mumbo, oh, you're sleeping so peacefully, I'm about to ruin that. Mumbo, you were so curious in the basket yesterday. Okay, yeah, just get in the basket. See, yeah, it's surprisingly Mumbo size. Okay, now stay. We're just going for a little ride. It's like one of those cat backpacks. Nope. Okay, this was probably one of the better outcomes. I've kind of been going back and forth of whether I want to do this or not, but I just have like this nagging feeling that it looks too new. It looks like too bright. If this is implied that this is something that has been traveling for a while, it wouldn't look this clean. So what I've decided to do is take some leftover wood stain, and I'm just going to very lightly and quickly go over this to try and darken up the color a little bit and try and add maybe some of that like patchiness or more depth to it. All right, it's been a day and our basket is now dry, and oh my god, I'm so glad that I changed the color. It feels so much more realistic, like something you would actually find out in the world other than, IKEA. Okay, so I have a bunch of stuff over here of figuring out how I want to decorate the outside. Like at first I thought that I wanted this like blue velvet to be like a cover for it, like something something like that. And then it would have like a buckle up here, and then like a bedroll on top. But I kind of don't think I want to do that anymore because like once you add like a big old cover to it, it looks less like a basket and more like a weird bag. And if I'm being honest, I kind of want to keep this fabric intact because I really like it, and I need a lot of Hobbit clothes before this event. I think this would be a really good one for a skirt or a coat or a bodice. So I think since I'm not in love with the idea, I'm going to save this. So a lot of the references I see online tend to have a little belt going around the top, which looks good, but also adds just like a ton of utility to it, because then you can like switch out what's hanging on the belt, pouches or tanker holders or stuff like that. I think it would be very funny and very Hobbit-y to have like a special slot for specifically holding spoons. And luckily, I think that I already have all that I need from my various trips to Tandy Leather to make all the little leather belts and fasteners that I need.
Does kind of feel a little bit like cheating, but I decided to go ahead and use already some of the belt accessories that I had. I mean, I already had them, so why would I make another one? Though I did make one attachment custom, and that is the all-important spoon and spork holder. Because you know it is absolutely crucial to have cookware ready at a moment's notice. And now I think it is finally time for us to put our traveler's bag to the test and just see how much we can fit in here. Starting with the essentials of picnic blanket and water canteen, then of course a cutting board in case we want to prepare a little snack, then a good book and my journal, a mysterious potion, letter opener, just in case, you never know when you're going to need it, tankard, pocket journal, of course we gotta carry some coin on us, a map, plus some room to spare for maybe a little bit of foraging. And I would say that this pack is now ready to travel to a festival.
I really don't know if I'm getting good final shots of this because I have to like turn around every time. I actually surprisingly really love this, especially with like the Hobbit fit, which also I realize I need so much more Hobbit clothes. This is barely anything that I could scrape together. This project is weird because I feel like I did a lot of work, but it also looks so simple, but I don't mind that. But the thing I really like about it is that it is so versatile. Not only like how much stuff I can put onto it where it's functional, but also from like LARP to LARP. I can put on a bunch of stuff that is like personalized to like the Hobbit LARP, but then I could also just like switch everything out for like my Beakeling character. And while I like handmade a lot of the straps and stuff, you could probably like thrift like a belt, a basket, like old backpack straps, and probably make something like this. And also a plus on top of all of that is that it does not feel like it's falling apart, which is fantastic. So overall, very happy with it, and I'm so excited to take it to the festival. And as a reward for making it to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can possibly win a ticket in the giveaway. To enter, what you have to do is make another Hobbit-y craft of your own, whether that be prop, decor, or clothing. And the rules to submit that are going to be over on my Instagram, and I'll link it down below in the description. If you so happen to stumble upon this channel and enjoyed the video, please consider checking out some of my other nerdy videos. And as always, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!